Good evening, Professor. This is Christina May Pakinggan, and welcome to Comp 123 Final Test. So this is about the character generator. Since majority of the code of the program was coded by you, so I'm just going to explain the things that I've added. So let's start by checking the codes in Visual Studio. Alright, first, under the character.cs file, I've added the first and the last name properties. That's the only thing that I changed, that I've added here on this form. And for the generate name forms, I created this method. So to generate random item, we use these codes. The random is equal to new random. So this is the index and random next. So to display the generated first name to the first name text box, then this is the code that we've used. And this is the same thing for the random generated last name. And then we call the method to the generate name form load. So once it's loaded, you can see that there is an initial value for the last name and the first name. And we also call the method under the click event. Whenever we click the generate button, then it will generate a random first name and last name. And then of course the next button will hide the current form and then show the next form, which is the ability generator form. So for the ability generator form, I didn't change anything here since you've already coded it, Professor. Yeah, so I don't need to add anything here. So after that form, the next form would be the raised end class form. So this is already set up as well. So let me check if I've added something here. No, I didn't add anything. So the last form that we have would be the final form. So let me just get it. Here. So what I've added is to what I did was to assign the value of each character to the corresponding text box. Like for example, the dexterity property under character.cs, we've assigned it to the dexterity text box .text, so it will show up the value of these properties to the text box from the final form load. So these are my codes for that. Now let's go to the splash form. So this is the icon or photo that I've selected for my splash form. Here we've set the interval to 3000 milliseconds, and once the splash form loaded, the timer is enabled, and then when it reached the interval, which is 3 seconds, then the form will this form will hide, and it will show the new form, which is the generate name form. And of course we have to disable the timer. So I'm now gonna run the program. Just hold on a second. So I'm gonna run the program now. So this is the splash screen, and this is the generate name form. So as I mentioned, there is already an initial value for the first name and the last name, since we call the generate method on the load event. So when we click on the generate names, it will just randomly generate the first name and last name based on the list that we have here. And when we click on the next, it will just go to the next form. So when we click on generate, it will just generate random numbers. And since I didn't change anything there, I'm not going to explain further. So when we click on next and we choose the race and we click on next, it will just display all the things that we have chosen from the previous forms. So it will show the value from that we have chosen from the previous form here. I'm not quite sure if the splash screen show on this video, but on my end it shows. For some reason I'm having a hard time showing it or using this OBS, but I hope I was able to explain the things that I've added to this final exam. And thank you for listening, Professor. Have a good night. I'm sorry, Professor. Just like I mentioned, I think the OBS was not able to capture the form, only the splash form. So this is the generate name form. So again, this is the first. It will show a value for the first and last name, since we put in, as I mentioned a while ago, we put in the generate method into the load event. So there's already a generated first name and last name here. So when we click the generate names, it will just generate a random names based on the list that we have here. And then next, still random generated numbers, and here. And then when we click on the next and then choose select race, all the information that we have chosen from the previous form will just show on the final form. And that's it. Thank you again, Professor. Have a good night.